What is dog separation anxiety? And how do you know if your dog is panicked or, for example, just bored? Dog separation anxiety is a clinical panic disorder. It's not bad behavior, nor spite, nor boredom. When left alone, an affected dog experiences a severe psychological panic response, driven by their sympathetic nervous system, kind of like how you can't control goosebumps. You can tell it apart from, for example, boredom, because separation anxiety evokes panic-driven behaviors, such as distress vocalization, pacing, panting, or destruction, which can happen the moment that you leave the house. So first, what is separation anxiety? Separation anxiety, the umbrella term, is a panic disorder. It's diagnosed only by a veterinarian, and it's when your dog experiences fear, anxiety, or stress when they're home alone or without access to you. Second, separation anxiety is not misbehavior. Again, like we were talking about the response with the goosebumps, your dog isn't voluntarily displaying these acts that demonstrate their underlying fear, anxiety, and stress. They can't help it. They're feeling really, really anxious in this situation, and the way that that comes out in the dog is via their behavior. Third, why do dogs develop separation anxiety? Well, first of all, it's not the person's fault. So pet parents, this is not on you. We believe that it's a combination of genetics plus environment that may trigger the anxiety. For example, during the pandemic, we saw a lot of cases of separation anxiety, but it's not likely that the scenario exclusively alone was the cause. There was probably a genetic component, and then the environment was just right so that it triggered the dog's fear, anxiety, and stress response when home alone or without access to their human. Fourth, in terms of the science behind separation anxiety, like anything, it's always evolving, so we're always going to want to pay attention to the experts. But with any type of behavior, the science again tells us we always want to use positive reinforcement, and we want to make sure that the first step is to check in with your veterinarian, because we need to make sure to rule out any underlying medical cause, which in this case, for the behavior, which in this case is the anxiety. Fifth, what should pet parents do if they suspect that their dog suffers from separation anxiety? As I just mentioned, your first thing that you want to do is rule out that there's any underlying cause for the behavior that you're seeing, so you want to get a vet check. You want to thoroughly make sure that your dog is healthy and rule out any other possibility, any other possible reason for the behaviors that you're seeing. For example, if your dog is chewing things, you want to make sure that we're not talking about puppy behavior. There's not some kind of irritated tooth that could cause your dog to be nibbling on things. Then you want to make sure that you contact a qualified professional trainer using positive reinforcement who can help you navigate and get to a point where your dog feels more relaxed. Third, I would avoid putting your dog continually in a situation where they practice the unwanted behaviors, which for separation anxiety means suspending absences. So getting your team together to help you accomplish these goals would be the first thing that I would take a look at. Number 6, what should pet parents avoid? Well, you definitely want to avoid any type of punishment or discipline. Again, your dog is not doing these things to give you a hard time. They're having a hard time. They're struggling. So we want to set up the environment to make them feel as relaxed and comfortable as possible, as you then get together a plan to help with longer-term relaxation. And last but not least, the recovery process. It is possible to move to a place where your dog feels more relaxed and calm with your departures. As we mentioned, you want to rule out anything medical and make sure your dog has a full vet check. Then you want to work with someone who can help you walk through the system and figure out ways to help your dog through a systematic desensitization process to feel more relaxed. Many times it's a combination of vet-prescribed medication plus behavior modification, and that med is what allows us to gain traction that get us to a point where your dog can feel more relaxed and calm when they're home alone or when they don't have access to you. If your dog struggles when home alone, the first step is to figure out what your plan forward will be. In future videos, I'm going to walk you through strategies to get there so that your dog feels calm and confident when they're by themselves.